Imagine a hospital that did just about anything to put patients in their beds, and doctors who performed hundreds of unnecessary heart surgeries on these people. Hear the lengths the government had to go to in order to stop the fraud, and why many believe the person responsible got away with it. If the Walls Could Talk podcast shares the tangled history and true crimes that happened at Chicago's Edgewater Hospital. Listen to If the Walls Could Talk wherever you get your podcasts.
Darkcast Network, indie pods with a dark side.
Hi, this is Kelly.
And this is Jenna.
And you're listening to ODFM.
This episode is One Dessert from Murder.
I've been waiting for a dessert.
Are you waiting for a dessert?
I have. I haven't found a dessert, so I'm glad you found a dessert.
I'm a big dessert person. Like, I don't believe in wasting dessert. I will finish your dessert if you don't finish yours.
For sure.
I'll be like, are you going to finish that? Because, I
know.
We don't.
Yeah. We don't waste that. We don't waste sugar. Oh, my God.
Hell no.
Sugar is special. It adds to my cellulite.
Right, yeah. Well,
I wouldn't want that to go.
Right. So anyways, just a little quick blurb in case you didn't see it on Facebook. Our favorite guest commentator, my cat Clyde, passed away last week. He will be sorely missed, although it might make it so that Kelly can edit things a little quicker because there will be less.
I loved random cattail in the in the episode and meows. Right? He was loud.
He was loud and meower. So I'm not expecting any meows at the door to let him in. I asked our other cat Mia if she wanted to come, but she's really more of she likes to assist with the research part. So anyway, rest in peace, Clyde. We will miss you.
He will be missed.
If he wants to come through the portal and make his
himself
opinions known on an episode, he's welcome.
He's very welcome. I've got the portal's always open. I haven't ever closed the portal, so come on through.
It's like my door's always open. The portal's always open. Just not to everybody though. Let's keep it not
to the nice entities.
Right? Let's not get carried away.
And we've heard Steve Irwin's on that Rainbow Bridge. So
that's what we heard. Steve Irwin is hanging on the Rainbow Bridge, waiting to welcome all the animals, and we'll be just like super excited to see them. Mm-hmm. Crikey! Like it's the first time he's ever seen a cat.
Crikey! I've never seen a cat with that kind of markings. Get on in here. Yeah,
exactly.
He'll be so into it.
So I know he'll be well cared for until we see him again. He will be well cared for. So,
do I have to go to the human bridge? Can I go to the Rainbow Bridge when it's time? Can I be with the animals?
I think so. I don't know. You'll have to speak to Steve.
Yeah.
You'll have to talk to Steve about that.
Maybe it's pre-approval thing.
Yeah, you have to get pre-approved. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you and I are both on the express train to hell.
Yeah, that's true.
From this podcast alone.
As long as there's those hellhounds and something to pet. Yeah.
Something to pet. Oh my God. Maybe the Thestrals from Harry Potter. Maybe they'll be there.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, I'll take them.
All right, maybe we should talk true crime.
Ooh, let's talk murder. Murder.
Okay, so I am going to tell you about Blanche Taylor Moore. Have you ever heard of her?
No, but she sounds like a golden girl.
She looks like one too.
She looks like one too. Nice.
Exactly.
All right.
So, this case happened during our lifetime. Like I'm surprised I hadn't heard of it, but
yeah, I don't remember the name.
There was even a made-for-TV movie in the 90s. I don't know how I missed that. I lived for made-for-TV true crime stories. So,
dang.
What happened?
All right. Well, we forget our own episodes, so it might not.
This is true. I mean, right. I could have seen it. Maybe
I probably
did. Maybe I did.
Well, let's revisit it.
All right. So Blanche was actually born Blanche Kaiser. And she was born February 17th, 1933 in Concord, North Carolina. She's a Southern belle. She's a Southern lady. She was one of 7 children.
Whoa, mama.
Yeah, that's a lot of kids, right?
That's a lot.
Her mother's name was Flonnie. I did not find that as a nickname for anything. Flonnie, that was a new one for me.
All right, yeah.
And her father, he went by PD Kaiser Sr. It was like Parker Davis or something, Parker something, but he went by PD.
All right.
He was a mill worker and a preacher. And I found out that anyone can be a preacher. Like, if you want to be a pastor, you go to schooling for that. A preacher just decides he wants to preach and just...
Oh, so that's like the guys on the corner of when you're in college and they're just standing on pedestals. Those are preachers.
They don't necessarily have any educational background, religious educational background. They just have a... just have a loud opinion.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that. I would have thought you'd have to have some...
I didn't know that either. But I guess to be a preacher, you just have to preach. Oh, well, maybe, you know what? I don't know for sure. Maybe sometimes you can be a preacher, but I guess not all. Okay. You just have to find people who want to listen to you.
So, as we know, that's difficult.
Right. So
it's not easy.
I guess you could also just become a politician then, too, if you just want people to listen to you.
You know, sometimes I feel like they go hand in hand. Yeah.
All right, so although Blanche was raised in a strict Southern Baptist home, Blanche's upbringing was far from idyllic. Her father, while he was a preacher, was also an alcoholic, a womanizer, and a gambler.
Wow, he is not following his own word.
No, so that's what I'm saying, like, you know, do as I say, not as I do kind of a guy, right?
Oh, wow.
Not only did Blanche witness her father with other women, she says this herself. Later in life, she says that, you know, oh yeah, I saw him. Oh, no. But according to her, and there isn't anyone to back this up as far as I know, this is just what she said. Her father would even prostitute her to men to settle his gambling debts. Not very Christian at all.
No, no. Maybe this is a whole different kind of religion we haven't heard of. It's a culty.
So, unsurprisingly, Blanche left home at 19 and got married. She was like, I'm out of here, right?
This is stupid.
She married James Napoleon Taylor. So she married James Taylor.
Oh.
She married James Taylor.
Woo, into the money.
All right. In 1952. He was a furniture restorer, and he had just gotten back from serving in the Korean War when they got married. She was determined, however, not to have to depend on a man. She wanted a man. She just didn't want to depend on a man, which I understand, you know.
Totally.
So she went to college and received a business degree.
Wow. And that would be kind of early for women. So.
That's what I thought, right?
Yeah.
She was the perfect Southern wife, known for her sweet tea and her banana pudding.
Oh, well.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
I would not fit in. Okay.
I know, right? That's not my thing. I mean, I like sweet tea.
I mean, I'll drink it and I'll eat it, but I don't want to make it all.
So she was very active within their church. She was known to even take food to the sick. She would sing hymns.
Yeah, so she was a better preacher than her father.
She was a far better Christian than her father was.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
She was always quoting scripture. She had like a devotional that she read daily. Like she did practice. Blanche and James had their first daughter, Vanessa, a year after they were married in 1953. And a year later, she went to work as a cashier at Kroger grocery store. Do you guys have Kroger?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. She was very friendly and personable. She was very pretty. She was very well dressed all the time. Customers would actually choose to wait in her long line to get checked out by her.
Dude.
Than go to somebody else.
At our local little grocery store, there's definitely some that you want to avoid. Because there's some deep, dark stories that you get every time you go through this one line. But the other one...
Oh, my. Well, you're right. I mean, I took it as they really liked Blanche. But, you know, I guess you could also take it as what was the alternative? Maybe they were just trying to avoid.
Right. There's one I try to avoid because I get...
That guy always charges me double for green beans, so I'm not going in his lane. I don't know.
Mine is like every time I go in this one guy's lane, he tells me all about the horrible things that happen in his life. And I'm like... Does it say? It must say on my forehead, like empathetic will make you cry.
We just needed bread and milk. I don't need your life story. I just needed.
Wow, dude, you were having a day. I'm glad you got it out. Now it's on my shoulders. Yeah.
Right?
Anyway.
Oh God. Yeah. Oh jeez.
Get it though. She's one of the good ones.
Oh, she's one of the good ones, right? She was good at it too. In 1959, she was promoted to head cashier. Ooh. Which, okay, so this is 59, right? So I read that it's kind of the same as her becoming like the customer service manager.
Nice.
Right?
That's cool.
And at the time, this is kind of sad, that was the highest level position a woman could have at Kroger.
Yes. The ceiling that we keep
the lead
trying
cashier.
to break through.
And it was like, woohoo, she's already reached the top of the mountain.
Nowhere to go from here.
Right. So that same year, she gave birth to her second daughter, Cynthia, who went by Cindy. Like I said, Blanche was, stereotypical Southern lady. She was always impeccably dressed, very sweet to the point of flirtatious with other men.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, right. Well, Southern ladies, they can be very, But she even was, personable to the point of flirtatious with the ushers at church that they attended every Sunday. So, like, in those days...
Took a little far.
Right. In those days, you went into the church and there would be ushers that would
direct you to where to go.
Right. And sometimes they would even kind of push each other out of the way to be the one to seat her. She was attending with her 2 kids and her husband,
too.
Oh,
my. Wow. But they liked her.
And Cindy even recalled an incident where an usher made a comment to her father that said something to the effect of, "Your wife causes more arguments between the husbands and wives of this parish than anything else."
Oh, shoot. She must be a bit of a looker, too, is my guess.
Right? She had very strong features. She was, like, handsomely beautiful. But, James didn't really take that as a compliment.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, stay away from my wife.
Right. And so Cindy kind of recalled that later at home, this kind of became a big argument, right?
I bet, because he probably witnessed a lot of the flirting, too.
Right. And he was like, all right, look.
All right.
Now
off,
it's gone
babe.
too far.
Maybe not at church, at least.
Right. And Cindy also said at home, things were different. Her mother was more quiet and reserved. And according to Cindy, her father was very loving and affectionate towards her mother, but her mother was not into displays of affection even in private with him.
Oh, wow.
Would kind of brush him off, or I'm in the middle of something, or I'm doing something.
Yeah,
or,
leave me alone. Don't touch me.
Right. So not like as blatant as that, but just kind of like,
Yeah, you're boring.
Right. But otherwise, Cindy and Vanessa felt like they had a pretty normal upbringing. They thought her parents had a good marriage, typical marriage,
Okay.
Cindy, however, had never known her grandfather, Blanche's father.
Oh.
She didn't really care for him.
Right.
And she left,
Can understand.
Right. So in 1960, 7 years after Blanche left home to get married, her mother, Flonnie, filed for divorce.
Wow. That had to be big news in that time.
Had to be big then, right? And it was stated in the divorce papers that PD had left her to find himself a younger woman.
Oh, well.
So she was very like, I'm putting it out there. This is what.
Well, yeah, you actually had to have proof to get divorced.
Right, exactly.
In those days. So
and she's like, oh, he's not coming back.
Yeah, he's sowing his wild oats.
Right. So that was in 1960. One day in 1966, PD just kind of showed up at their house.
Oh, shit. No, like call beforehand.
Nope,
just like, dude, I haven't
Blanche
cleaned.
is like, what the frig is he doing here?
Yeah.
Right? And he asked to speak to Blanche and James. And so they all went into the living room.
Oh, gosh.
And Cindy kind of was snooping. Was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
She's never met him.
Sit around the corner.
She wasn't introduced to him when he came or anything.
Okay.
So.
Just curious, yeah.
Right. So she's like, I wonder what's going on. So she was listening. She couldn't make anything out, but she could tell that they started raising their voices and it became an argument. And then her grandfather just left.
So something was going on.
So she's like, right. And her parents didn't tell her anything about it. They're just like, don't worry about it.
Didn't talk about those things then.
A few days later, Cindy and Vanessa were told that their grandfather had died of heart failure.
Whoa.
And then that was it. They didn't speak of him again.
Wow. All right. He just off the face of the earth and done.
They're like, well, he's gone.
Done. Huh.
The end.
All right.
Just FYI, you're not going to meet him now.
Oh.
That's it.
Ouch. All right.
Right. So Blanche and James had been married 21 years when in 1973 he got sick. Cindy remembers her father having basically like flu-like symptoms that just wouldn't get better. Like it was over a week. Like usually the flu lasts a couple days, right? It's like COVID where it's just
I was going to say
it's going. It's like, when are we doing this, right?
Oh.
Who knew the first case of COVID was in 1973?
Yeah.
So
It was James.
Right. But Blanche was very caring. She took care of him. She kept making his favorite foods, trying to nurse him back to health.
Okay. So she seems like she cares.
Right. She was, being the doting wife and trying to care for him. And Cindy said he actually seemed to be getting a little bit better. And then he went to bed. And the next morning, which was October 2nd, 1973, Cindy woke up to the sound of her father's alarm clock going off. And he's not turning it off, and he's not turning it off, and all
so
this.
Annoying.
And she's like, this is weird. So she hears Blanche go into his room or their room or whatever. She wasn't in the room. And just say, oh, no.
Oh, shit. That's never good.
Right. Cindy comes running, and her mother's like, nope, you're not going in there. And she leaves the room, but she doesn't get the door closed quite quick enough. And Cindy kind of peeks into the room, and she sees her father. He's just laying on the bed very peacefully, but he does have a line of blood like coming out of his mouth. And she's like, she knew. She's like, oh, he's dead. Right.
Cindy is a little curious nugget.
She is.
Reminds me of the naughty girl of the Brady Bunch. Was that Nan?
Jan?
Nan. Jan. I don't know.
My God, yes.
Shut up, Jan. Yeah. Oh. The annoying girl.
Yeah. Oh, maybe she's like a Nancy Drew.
Oh, that's it. I think I was combining Little House on the Prairie because they had that really annoying girl too with the
Nellie.
ringlets.
Oh, God,
Nellie.
I hated her.
I hated Nellie.
God.
She was a slut.
Yeah, she was oh my God.
I don't know if she was a slut, but
I don't think so, but man, was she a bitch.
She was my God. She was a
mean girl. She was
the pioneer of Mean Girls.
Exactly.
Back in pioneer days.
Yep. So it was determined that James Taylor died of a heart attack.
Okay. But does blood come out of your mouth?
I know. That seemed weird, right? He was only 45 years old.
Wow. Did he smoke?
No, he didn't. Oh. And Cindy said it was really, really weird because most of the men on her father's side of the family lived to be in their 80s and 90s. So it was very like, wow, this was really out of nowhere,
weird.
Right?
Yeah, because I know my grandpa died at 40, 45, something like that. But he was a lifelong smoker.
But but they had contributing factors, right?
Yeah.
No, this was like kind of like a out of the blue. Other than that he had this, this like flu that just wouldn't go away.
Oh,
it was really weird.
That's right.
So Blanche was 40 years old at this time. Vanessa was 20 and Cindy was 14. Blanche was very stoic at the funeral. She was still the Southern lady, greeting everyone, very polite. She didn't, Cindy's like, she didn't really cry. She kind of
emotional.
just, right. She wasn't emotional. Okay. She was very like, just polite to everybody, smiled at everyone as they came up to her and everything. And her mom, Cindy was just like, okay, that's just like my mom. That's my mom. She's not, she doesn't show emotion. Well, and that's like, it kept making me think of, Miranda Lambert. He sings the song Mama's Broken Heart, where her mom is like she's all pissed off about this guy who did her wrong. And she's like, we don't do that. We don't do that. We do our makeup and we fix our face and we,
yeah, it's kind of like that in my family. Actually, my mom's very no emotion.
We don't do that.
And I'm pretty bad about not showing an emotion just because, I was raised that way and my grandparents were the same. So it's like... It's not good.
It was like, we don't do this. So Cindy didn't really like.
It wasn't a red flag to her.
It was not a red flag to her at all. It was just like, well, that's my mom. My mom is such a lady. It was just more like that. Right.
I get it.
But this was really traumatic for Cindy. So she was so upset that she actually didn't go back to the house. She actually went and stayed with friends.
Whoa.
For like almost 2 months. Like she just couldn't be in her family home. She was so. This was such a surprise. This was so upsetting to her. So she went and stayed with friends for like almost 2 months.
Wow. And she was 14?
She was 14.
Okay.
I'm assuming Vanessa, I don't know what happened. I don't know if Vanessa wasn't living at home, or I don't know if Vanessa just went home and was cool with it. I'm not really sure.
She was cool with it.
She's like, it's all right.
Dad's dead.
It happens. It's the circle of life. Anyway.
Yeah, that's it.
Cindy knew that the first Thanksgiving without her father was going to be a pretty difficult one for her entire family.
Sure.
And holidays were a big deal.
Yeah, and that makes it even more.
Yeah. So she went home in time for Thanksgiving, and she was kind of put off, like really annoyed when She finds out that her mother has invited her boss from Kroger to join them for dinner.
Oh, all right.
She's like, really, this is weird enough as it is without Dad.
Yeah,
And instead of
and
it
then
just
you
being
gotta-
the three of us, you're invited somebody else.
Some stranger and
And Blanche was like, look, his name was Raymond Reed. And he's like, Raymond is recently divorced. He is also having a really hard time. I just figured we'll all have a hard time together.
Okay.
Right?
Guess. Yeah. Might ask the kids first, but
No, nobody cared what they thought about. She was just like, I'm sorry, this is weird. And they were very friendly and comfortable with each other. And she's just like, no.
Ew,
like,
yeah.
And he's just like, I mean, he was nice. He wasn't weird about her or anything, but he's like, how are you? How's school? And she's like,
shit. It's all shit.
this is all shit, right?
What are you talking about? I don't even know you. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, I know. So that was really weird. After that, Raymond was coming around more and more. And Blanche was adamant that they were just friends. They were consoling each other.
Ew.
They were both going through these big life changes, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we believe you.
But they saw each other daily.
Right. So does he need to come over after?
Right. Exactly. I don't know when Cindy found this out, or if she ever found this out until much later in life. But it turns out that Blanche and Raymond had been having an affair since 1962.
Oh, it's been a while.
So that's the last 10 years of her marriage.
Oh, shit.
So no wonder they were so comfortable with each other.
He's just sneaking on in. Here
Right?
I am. Ooh.
Right, so he just slipped right on in there. There was an opening at the table, and he just took that
opening.
seat.
There's a job opening, and
it was
we're not even
Thanksgiving.
going to advertise this.
I mean, my family's pretty big, and so we used to joke about sitting at the kids' table, who had to die before you got to get moved up.
Oh, right.
So it was Thanksgiving, there was an opening, he slid right in, right? Right, exactly.
You hire from internal.
Right, we decided to promote from within. So anyway, it took a long time for Blanche to admit to her daughters that she and Raymond were like an item. But eventually she did, and they made their relationship public. But they never got married, and they never lived together.
Interesting.
Right.
All right.
And Vanessa and Cindy both stated that Raymond was a good man. He treated them both very well.
Okay.
He and their mom got along really well.
Just was really quick for them. And
yeah, it was just kind of, the beginning was kind of weird. And then it was just like, okay, Ray's here now.
yeah, he's
All right.
part of this.
Right. Plus they were growing older. They weren't, they were starting to have their own stuff, right? Okay. So that was 73. So now we're going to fast forward to 1985.
Oh, we're
Right.
getting...
And Blanche and Raymond are still together. They are still long-term dating and not living together.
Wow. Okay.
It's just
well,
how they did
that
it.
sounds better. Because you get so sick
Right.
of each other living together,
Exactly. I'm going back to my house.
Yeah. I can.
And you go to yours.
Oh, that sounds
kind of nice, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm kind of like, dang, I wish I'd thought of that. Of course,
okay.
you have to have money to do that. Yeah.
Oh, right. I was like, sorry, I was daydreaming there for
I
a second.
know.
Okay. So in 1985, Blanche is now 52. And she went with a relative to an Easter sunrise service. That sounds early, man.
Yeah.
At the Carolina sunrise service, right? Ooh. She went to a service at the Carolina United Church of Christ.
Okay.
And the pastor there, not preacher.
Ah, a real one.
Right.
Okay.
His name was Reverend Dwight W. Moore. He was also 52, and he was recently divorced with 2 grown children.
Uh-oh.
They met, and Dwight was immediately smitten with Blanche.
Wow, she's got some power.
I know. Well, I mean, she took care of herself. She still looked good at 52. She's still dressed to the nines when she went to church.
Wow. All right.
So he starts calling her, leaving notes on her door when she's not home.
Wow, he's
right. She's
assertive.
She's still dating Raymond.
Yeah, I'm kind of dating somebody.
Like long term, right? But hey, there ain't no ring on this finger. There's no ring on this finger, right?
She sounds like the type to just put out signals
here
and there and everywhere.
Well, you just keep throwing them out there and see what sticks, You just
boop, boop. It's got a little metal detector, but
right? Oh, gosh. Okay, so after a while of him being very persistent, she finally agrees to meet him for ice cream. And
okay, that's different.
It's very innocent.
It is.
Some ice cream.
Very.
I take my ice cream very seriously. So she just agrees to meet him for ice cream, and soon they begin to attend church gatherings together.
Oh, that's serious. That's.
I know.
I mean,
but it's church. It's just church stuff. It's all very innocent and Christian.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
And she's still dating Ray.
All right. Well, like you said, dating, not married.
A year after she meets Dwight, Ray starts getting sick.
Oh, weird. Like the flu?
Yeah, lots of weird symptoms, right? He initially is diagnosed with shingles.
Ooh, I've had that. Not fun. Ouch.
Painful. In April of 1986. And he ends up getting hospitalized. Blanche is the doting girlfriend. She visits him daily. She brings him his favorite home-cooked foods. He was especially fond of her milkshakes and banana pudding.
Oh, shit. Here it is again.
She brings that to him every day. The doctors and the nurses thought that was so sweet.
Yeah.
His adult children thought that was so kind.
Oh, absolutely. What a sweet woman.
Right. Okay. So he's in the hospital for 5 months, and his health is going up and down, and he'd get better, and then he'd get sick again.
And then he'd eat some banana pudding.
And then he'd eat some banana pudding.
Whoops.
Right. And then his health just started to really decline. And Raymond ends up passing away on October 7th, 1986. He was only 50 years old.
Shit. Okay, there's a common denominator, but, again, it's been a while.
It's been a while, right? Okay. His cause of death was determined to be it was called Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Oh,
I had to write that out phonetically because there's no way. Which is an autoimmune disease that causes causes me not to speak. I'll tell you that. It causes muscle weakness first in your limbs.
Yikes.
But eventually it moves through your body to the point where it weakens your breathing muscles and it affects your heart rate and your blood pressure. And what causes this syndrome is unknown. They don't know why people get it. So it was very they really didn't have an answer. We don't know how he got it.
I do.
I know something you don't know. Okay. Not long after, Blanche and Dwight began publicly dating.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they didn't wait very long at all. It was just
She's pretty good at just writing.
She don't like to be alone.
Yeah.
Blanche and Dwight are dating, right? And her daughters are like, you're moving way too fast.
Feels
Maybe
familiar.
you should pace yourself, Mom. This is, right? And, Blanche is like, no, we're just dating. It's not a big deal, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's not serious. And Cindy recalls that Dwight was very affectionate, very touchy-feely. And she was thinking to herself, well, this ain't going to last because my mom does not like this shit.
Interesting.
She was like,
yeah, she was not a touchy-feely person.
So she wasn't too terribly worried about it because she's like, he ain't going to last.
Yeah.
Right? So she's like, all right, whatever.
Interesting.
But actually, they had been kind of discussing marriage.
Oh, wow.
Right? But she didn't tell her daughters. She told her daughters,
it's
not serious, right?
Not good.
But then Blanche was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1987.
Ooh, that puts a damper on things.
So she went through treatment and stuff for that, and she went into remission.
Oh, good.
And then Dwight developed an intestinal illness.
I don't trust her banana pudding. I'm not eating that shit.
I mean, what is she, you might want to check that recipe. I mean, there's a reason I don't cook.
Yeah.
I mean,
you don't want to poison everyone.
I don't want to poison everybody. Yeah. So anyway, he developed this intestinal illness that they couldn't really figure out, but it was so severe that he actually had 2 surgeries on his intestines to try to correct it.
That's horrifying.
Yeah, right? So then on April 19th, 1989, Blanche and Dwight got married. It was just a tiny little ceremony, just the 2 of them and some witnesses.
Okay.
Blanche only told her daughters the day before.
Right.
Getting married. You are? When? Tomorrow. And they weren't there. They weren't even there.
No.
Right?
We're just going to the justice of the peace.
Right. So they got married. And then the newlyweds drove up to New Jersey for a long honeymoon weekend because apparently the Jersey Shore is a honeymoon destination.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe back then, before
I guess before it became
a TV show about Jersey.
Before Gym Tan Laundry was a.
What was it, Mike? The situation before the situation happened.
Oh God,
right.
Yeah, it's much less honeymoony now. So it was just supposed to be a long weekend, and the plan was that they were going to drive up there, they were going to spend the weekend there, and then they were going to take this long scenic way home along the coast, right?
Cool.
But they had to cut the trip short because Dwight got severely ill on the way home and collapsed after eating a fast food chicken sandwich.
Okay. Well, it's not banana pudding.
So Blanche drove them back to North Carolina as quickly as she could. They skipped the scenic route and she just booked it back.
She didn't go to the hospital, though.
No, she didn't, right?
We could just go to the hospital.
So they said, no, Dwight was laying in the back seat, like in agony, right? She's probably trying not to hit every bump.
Yeah.
I
don't know. That sounds awful.
Right? So she gets him back there and it's like, okay, he has to go to the hospital. So he's admitted to the local county hospital on April 28th with severe nausea and vomiting.
Okay.
2 days later, he gets transferred to North Carolina Memorial Hospital in Chapel Hill. And his condition is just deteriorating. Like, they don't know what's going on with him, but he's going down fast. He's at risk of multiple organ failure.
Oh, shit. Let's not let Blanche visit while he's here.
He's like near death, right? And the doctors are like, we don't know what's going on. Like, they're just trying to like stop him from dying. They don't even know what's going on, right?
Yeah, just trying to control it. Oof.
So they're trying to do that, and they're trying to also ask like Dwight. They're like trying to ask him questions, trying to figure out what could possibly be causing this. And they're asking him all these questions. And at one point, Dwight goes, well, I have been working with this herbicide in the yard. Right?
Okay.
Gardening and stuff like that. And so one of the doctors suggested a heavy metals test.
Ooh, good. Yes.
Right?
Let's do this.
So they ordered that. But it took a week for them to get like the results and all that or something.
Yeah.
Right. So they're like just trying to keep them right. So it finally comes back and shows that Dwight had, well, this was a little confusing because I had multiple sources. In several sources, it said he had more than 20 times the lethal level in his system. And then there were two sources that said 100 times. But whatever it was
deadly.
the highest level recorded in a living person. They couldn't believe he was still alive.
Yeah. Blanche is like, God, how much of this do I have to squirt down his throat?
Oh my God, right? So much banana pudding. Like, I am running out of ingredients. She's going back to Kroger every other day.
I'm sick of this.
Right? At least she gets a discount.
Yeah, that's true. She's got her employees' discount.
The doctors are like, all right, there's no way he could have been exposed to this level of arsenic by just working with an herbicide. Like what is he, bathing in it?
Yeah. Bathing it, drinking it.
So doctors are like, oh, this is weird. So they contact police, who immediately limited his visitation.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
So Blanche was allowed to see him, but only when supervised.
Good. Okay. So she couldn't slip him something.
Police also question her, like, all right, something's going on. Somehow your husband got this. Now, she's this sweet Christian, petite, well-dressed, polite pastor's wife, right? So she's not a suspect.
I would never do something like that.
Right. She's just like, any idea how this could happen? How could he get this in his system? Is there somebody that you know who might want to harm your husband? And Blanche tells them, well, Dwight has been kind of depressed lately.
Oh.
And
so
she suggests that maybe
he's taken it?
He was suicidal and purposely ingested it.
In the most painful way you can ever go.
Right.
No.
So this sets off two big red flags. Mm-hmm. One, Dwight had not given anybody else the impression that he was suicidal or depressed in any way until he felt like shit, obviously.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right. And then two, as you said, that's an extremely painful way to die.
Yeah, nobody wants to die like that.
That's not, people don't do that, right? Okay, so I know we've had other episodes where we talked about arsenic poisoning, but to help. It is odorless and colorless, so it's very easy to conceal in food.
Dang, I need to grow some of that.
What?
Oh, nothing. No. What?
All right, maybe I shouldn't tell you this, but it's easy to purchase. as it's found. Rats. Yes, right? It's found in many ant killers and rat poisons. Rough on Rats from season whatever, right?
What? I know.
I can't remember. It was a while ago, but it was a good episode. And the symptoms of arsenic poisoning mimic many other illnesses and viruses because it usually starts with flu-like symptoms, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Then it can also cause numbness in your hands and feet.
Oh.
Right? But it's also very painful because it causes blisters to form in your stomach, and then the lining of your stomach gets eaten away.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Like you're getting eaten from the inside out.
God, it'll be interesting to see if there's a lot of these types of things that happened during COVID, but they didn't know because they assumed it was COVID.
It's the best cover.
I know. Anyway.
Okay. Well, there's some research we can do later. Okay.
Yeah.
Police do a search of Blanche and Dwight's house, and they find nothing containing arsenic in the home. Okay, we didn't find any. It was also noticed by doctors that Dwight's symptoms would come and go. He would begin to improve and then take a drastic turn.
Oh.
And they're like, well, this is odd. So they continue to run tox screens.
Okay.
And they found that his arsenic level would go down and then it would go back up, which shouldn't happen unless he's getting more arsenic.
Right. But they're still watching, supposedly.
And they're in the hospital.
Is she having things delivered to him?
So.
Oh, no.
Right? So the doctors notify police and they're like, all right, not only has someone intentionally poisoned him, but they're continuing to poison him. And this is over our heads. So they call in the SBI, which is the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation.
Oh, my God. Okay.
And they come in and they ban everybody other than hospital staff from his room, including his wife. They're like, that's it. We're shutting this down, right?
We need to figure this out.
Yeah, this is bad. So after a couple days, Dwight is finally improving. He's still in a great deal of pain. He still has no feeling in his hands and feet. He can't sit up. He can't keep food down. He was near death. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
But when he started to feel at least a little bit better, investigators are like, we got to talk to you. We think someone's been poisoning you. You have arsenic in your system. And not only do you have it in your system, but you keep getting more.
Yeah. Who is doing this?
Right. And he's dumbfounded. He's like, what? He thought at first when they found arsenic, he thought it was from the herbicide, right? But obviously he hasn't been gardening since he's been in the hospital.
It's very true. Maybe he was leaning out the window and watering all the plants.
The hospital windows down and they're spraying outside, right?
Fogging everyone.
He's like, I have no idea who would want me dead. This is ridiculous. This is crazy. I have no idea. He's just in shock, right? They're like, well, we got to figure out something. We don't know where to go from here. So they start asking him to think of anything else that could happen to them. And one of the things they say is, are there any other suspicious deaths that you know of?
Oh, well, there's a couple.
Well, a couple of years ago, my wife's then boyfriend got really sick and the doctors never figured out why and he died, Ding, ding,
ding, ding. And that didn't.
Right? No, and that still hadn't done anything. So investigators immediately go look up Raymond Reed's medical records. Turns out the symptoms of Guillain-Barré syndrome can mimic the symptoms of arsenic poisoning.
Oh, shiz.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Ding, ding, ding. Red flag.
Yeah. We gonna exhume that body or what?
Yep. June 13th, 1989, Raymond Reed's body is exhumed and sent to the medical examiner in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, who, because you and I both have the humor of an 8-year-old boy, I have to throw it in there. His name was Dr. John Butts.
Oh,
Butts. Butts.
God.
It was hard because I'm watching this show and they keep showing his name in the corner and I keep focusing on Butts, Dr. Butts.
Tina Belcher would be proud. Butts.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So they take tissue samples and hair samples. And while they're waiting for the results, they interview Raymond's 2 sons from his previous marriage, right?
Oh.
And they describe their father's time in the hospital as like this roller coaster where he would get better, then he'd get really sick again, and then he'd get better. His son said he even coded several times. Like,
oh my God.
It was bad. And it was really hard. They didn't know what was wrong with him.
Yeah.
Doctors were confused. But they said, Blanche was always there. He kept caring for him, doting over him, bringing his favorite foods, And they were like, they thought it was really
of course, yeah.
nice. They were like, this is his longtime partner, girlfriend, right? And they thought it was really nice, right? They
never
didn't think anything of it.
The worst.
Right?
Just
exactly. They did know that their father's girlfriend could be very sweet and Christian on the outside, but they came to know that she had a manipulative side.
Oh, really? We haven't heard about this side of Blanche.
Right. When Raymond died, she encouraged his family to decline an autopsy.
Oh.
Saying that, look, he's gone through so much already. It's not going to bring him back. He's already been poked and prodded and all that. He doesn't want to be cut up. He would want to be left to rest in peace. And his sons were like, yeah, you know what? You're right. It's unfortunate.
Wow.
We're gonna let it go.
She's pretty good at this manipulation lady.
So, and Raymond didn't have a lot of money. He had a small pension. He had a small amount of savings and a small insurance policy. And all those things together totaled about $125,000.
Okay. So it wasn't,
this wasn't like motivated. This big, right. So his sons were supposed to receive all the money upon his death. But Blanche went to them and said, look, I'm entitled to some of it, and I think it should be split 3 ways.
Oh.
And your father did too. And she presented them with this typed letter that Ray had signed, saying that he believed that his assets should be split 3 ways.
Ay, that doesn't sound right. Okay.
So they're like, okay, if okay, if that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
It's just stuff, whatever. It's fine. And, they're like, okay, she's been his girlfriend for 13 years.
Yeah.
Almost 24 if you count the affair. So, right. So they're like, okay, they didn't fight it. They're like, okay, fine.
It's not a lot of money, so.
Right. But now the police are talking to them. They're like, maybe we should have looked into this more. It seemed fine. They were also grieving, not thinking right. So they're just like, whatever,
Don't want to deal with this.
So then they get the results back from Raymond's new autopsy.
Ooh.
He had lethal levels of arsenic in his system, 30 times what's considered normal.
Good God.
So they changed his cause of death to arsenic poisoning officially.
Good. Wow. Uh-oh. She must be like shaking in her little Southern lady boots.
So then they're like, well, shit, she was married before this, right? So
what happened to that guy?
They go and they obtain a warrant to get the medical records of her first husband, James Taylor.
Shit.
And looking at his hospital records, his symptoms were also consistent with arsenic poisoning. Oops. So they're like, are we dealing with a black widow here?
I think so. Yeah.
So, from the same cemetery, they exhumed James Taylor's body.
Oh my God.
It was a small area. There was only like one cemetery. They were all in the same place.
This is the Blanche area. Yeah.
She just had to go and get flowers once and then just,
just spread them out.
Make the rounds.
Oh.
Okay. So they exhumed James Taylor's body and they also do another autopsy with Dr. Butts. Dr. Butts. And there is a lethal dose of arsenic found in his body as well. 60 times what was considered normal.
Jesus. She was like, God,
I think she was like figuring out like, what's it going to take, right? She was playing around with it there.
Oh, shit.
Her dosing. His official cause of death is also changed to arsenic poisoning.
Uh-oh. I think Blanche might be getting a little worried at this point.
Oh, she is, because on July 18th, 1989, Blanche Taylor Moore is arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for her husband and her boyfriend, and then 1 count of assault with a deadly weapon with her new husband, and she is held without bond.
Did she have another boyfriend coming up or something? Why is she killing the preacher dude?
What's next? What's next? There was one show where, I forgot to put it in here, where Cindy said that shortly after they got married, she was making the comment that now that she was living with Dwight, that she was like, ugh, I'm not used to this. He's getting on my nerves. They're not even. Well, I think she poisoned him on their honeymoon. Like, she didn't even wait. She was like, yeah, I'm already over this. Decision. I don't want him moving in. I had it better with Raymond. Like, he had his own house.
Yeah, why'd she knock that out of the... Just because she was into the preacher.
It would have been easier for her to just get a man cave for him. I mean,
seriously. She's having fun. Dosing.
She could have just changed her mind and not gotten married. She didn't have, if she was like, he's already around too much.
Right.
Like, what the hell? There are other options.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she gets arrested. Her daughters, Vanessa and Cindy, they are shocked. They're like, this is not our mother. Our mother is not capable of this. This is crazy, right? They're like,
that's insane. Yeah.
They insisted she was innocent. Blanche insisted she was innocent. This is crazy. So as they continue their investigation, authorities started to wonder if Blanche could possibly have any other victims.
Oh, shit. Blanche, does she do potlucks at the church?
Well, she did deliver food to the sick.
That's true. We're not accepting anything from Blanche these days at the potluck.
Right, exactly.
FYI.
What can I bring? Napkins, cups and napkins. That's it. Cups and napkins.
Nothing. Oh, but I'd make the best banana pudding. No, absolutely not.
Maybe people really do think that I poison them because I'm always asked to bring cups and napkins.
You don't.
My family knows. You just bring drinks and...
Please don't.
No one asked me to bring anything anymore. It's fine. They start looking into people that Blanche knows, people she's had connections with, and they found 22 other people that had a connection to her that had died of unusual circumstances. Damn. And so they got a court order to look at all of their medical records.
22
were questionable, right? Okay,
is this just fun for her? Like, la la la.
See what I'm like? How have I not heard of this woman? They send those 22 people's medical records to Dr. Butts, right?
He's the professional now.
Right. And from those, and he pours through their medical records, he determines that there's 3 more people that they should exhume.
Oh, shit. See, she should have started dating Dr. Butts, because then...
Right?
He wouldn't have gotten the chance.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, you should have
mysteriously died, too. Yeah, whoops.
All right, so they obtain court orders, and they exhume the bodies of her father, P.D. Kaiser Sr., her mother-in-law, Isla Taylor, James's mother, right?
Oh, shit.
And Joseph Mitchell, who was a former co-worker.
Oh, shit. Oh, my God.
Based from one source that I read, they were all in the same cemetery. They're just digging shit up left and right.
So there is a Blanche section. Yep. Right? See, she's got her own section.
I'm sure everyone in the town is like, oh, my God, did I ever cross paths with her? Like, just freaking out.
What? And why? Like, what reason?
Right. So they're like, well, shit, she might not just be a Black Widow. She might be a serial killer.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. This isn't small.
This is not small potatoes. She went big or went home.
She had a different kind of hobby. Yeah. She wasn't going to take up crocheting. She's like,
that's what I was going to say.
That's
she
not
should have
fun.
just focused on perfecting her bread pudding or her.
Yeah, well, she perfected it, and then she was like, now what?
Okay, so autopsies of her father and mother-in-law showed that they both had higher than normal levels of arsenic, but neither had lethal levels, right?
Okay. Well, she didn't get good at it yet.
Well, however, considering their ages at the time they died, arsenic poisoning could have contributed to their deaths.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? But it wasn't enough to like charge her, right? But if they were older and suffering from anything, it could have just been the thing that...
Yeah, it just tips them over the edge.
Joseph Mitchell's autopsy didn't reveal an unusual level of arsenic. So he just something was suspicious. He actually died of the flu. He actually had the flu.
He was the one that actually was sick.
He actually had the flu.
Maybe he saw it coming. He's like, I'm dying before this bitch gets me, because that's awful.
Okay, so prosecutors, however, only had circumstantial evidence because no one ever witnessed her poison anyone.
Okay, I could see that.
Right?
Yeah,
This is a
it's
problem.
true.
No one saw her with poison, whatever. So ultimately, they're like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We are going to focus on charging Blanche with the murder of Raymond Reed.
Oh, okay.
They're going to ask for the death penalty.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah, they're going big.
Damn.
This was
All right.
a long, thought out, premeditated, overtime.
That's true.
thing.
Cruel.
Right. And they felt they had the strongest case against him. Right. So they're like, we're just going to go full for him and see what happens. And there was one thing that I read that they were like, well, they were going to do that. And then they figured, well, if that doesn't work, then we'll try to
go to the others.
add the other guys, whatever. So they're working on building their case, right? Except in May of 1990, Blanche's attorney calls the DA's office and with some new information that's going to kind of mess things up.
Uh-oh.
He just received a handwritten letter in the mail from someone else confessing to the murders.
Blanche's evil twin.
Close. Close.
Okay.
The letter was written by a Garvin Thomas, who was a member of Blanche's church. And in the letter, he claimed to have been in love with Blanche for years and years and years secretly, right?
Oh, no.
And that none of the three men in her life were worthy of her.
What? So
Right?
he just killing them all off? How did he get to him?
He confessed in detail in the letter to dressing like a chaplain so that he could get into their hospital rooms.
Oh, my God.
And then spiked their pitchers of water.
What? No way.
Right?
Holy shit.
Sneaky.
But he didn't want her to have to go down for it because he loved her so much. Oh, my God. That's
Detectives
amazing.
are like, well, shit. So they decide to investigate this Garvin Thomas, right?
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
Oh.
Garvin Thomas died 1 week before the letter was mailed.
Oh, what did he die from?
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know what he died from.
I thought maybe arsenic, but
Right. So investigators are like, okay. So they take the letter and they do handwriting analysis. And the handwriting analysis person, whatever they call them, right, the forensic person, determined that the handwriting matched Blanche's handwriting.
She was like, oh, well, that's convenient that he died.
Right,
I'll
exactly.
just set him up with
Except, how did it get mailed? Like, did he do it and then seal it and then he died?
Upon my death.
Right, and then someone showed up at his house and went, oh, I think he wanted this mailed. Like,
Yeah.
it was...
Upon my death, mail this.
And he had very fancy feminine handwriting, apparently.
Right.
So,
Blanche.
all right. So they're like, all right, we're moving forward. We're moving forward the case, right?
Okay. That just gave him more evidence.
Right?
Thanks for that. We needed a little more.
The media kind of went wild with this story.
I
of the
bet.
North Carolina Black Widow. Although I don't know why they just didn't call her a serial killer, because murdering her mother-in-law and her father does not make her a Black Widow anymore.
True. That adds on to those,
She's
but they couldn't quite prove.
And there's 5. Well, there was 4 and 1 attempted. I mean,
True.
you know, everyone's going crazy over this. I don't know
Yeah.
how I missed this. I was probably because I was a teenager and I was doing other things. But there was someone selling T-shirts with an image of a Blanche Taylor Moore cookbook on it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Featuring her banana pudding recipe with ant poison.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Right?
Yes.
Someone wrote a song about her called The Ballad of Blanche Moore.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, they went all out, right?
This is great.
Everyone's getting on board with it, right?
Yeah.
So in October of 1990, just a few days before the trial started, Judge William Freeman ruled that the prosecution could introduce the arsenic poisonings of her first husband, James, Dwight,
Oh my God.
and her father.
Oh my God.
So now they can show a pattern of behavior.
Oh, for sure. Nail in the coffin.
So the trial began in October of 1990. Blanche was 57 at this point. She shows up for court and she is very Golden Girls. She's got her big hair, permed. She's got her big ass glasses, right?
Yes.
Her Sally Jesse Raphaels, right?
Oh, yes.
And she's dressed like a very well put together Southern lady, very designing women. Remember Designing Women?
That's what I'm thinking of.
Her grown daughters, who were 36 and 30 at the time, They were there supporting her innocence. She also had 3 grandchildren by this point.
Oh, wow. Oh, Granny.
Grandma's going to jail.
Yeah, Granny's done some things. Shit.
Grandma sent home some cookies she made in jail. Don't eat any of them.
Don't eat.
Right?
We don't eat grandma's stuff.
Right. We don't eat grandma's stuff. We just throw that away. The lead prosecutor, whose name was Janet Branch, described to the jury Raymond's suffering to such great detail.
Oh, no.
That she actually broke down crying twice.
The attorney did?
The attorney did. The prosecutor.
No. Oops.
Okay, here's 2 quotes from her. Raymond Reed lay in Baptist Hospital, flat on his back, bed sores on his back, completely unable to move, tears in his eyes on the days that this woman who was killing him doesn't come.
Oh, my God. That's sad.
Bring on the tears. Okay.
Crying.
And then again, she says, he's crying because his murderer isn't coming to see him. Can you imagine? Because she was seeing Dwight at the same time.
Yeah, she's like, I've got other things to do.
Very busy. She says, can you imagine anything more pitiful in this whole world? And he loves her with all his heart. But she's running around on him. She's sleeping with Dwight Moore, and she's going to that hospital.
Yeah, that's a pretty good argument.
Right. So she gets it, but she gets so worked up that she's crying. So
like,
the defense moves for a mistrial.
Oh, shit.
I know, right? But the judge overruled it.
Okay,
It was
good.
just like, get your shit together.
Yeah, dude, be
someone
professional.
Else.
Be like Blanche.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody else,
emotional.
please plead this case. You sit down.
You are too empathetic.
You can't handle it. Okay, so although no one witnessed Blanche poison Ray,
Yeah.
a number of nurses and other hospital staff testified
Oh.
to seeing her visit him daily and bring him food.
Oh, my God.
They said that sometimes he ate it himself when he was feeling okay.
Okay.
Sometimes she fed it to him, and sometimes she left it and instructed the nursing staff to feed it to him.
Oh, my God.
So she wasn't always, but
Yeah.
But here's the other part that I found very interesting. They also testified that at one point she made a cake for the nurses as a thank you.
Okay.
All but one of the nurses became ill after eating the cake, except for one. And that nurse was off that day.
Oh, shit. Shit. She was even poisoning them?
I think she just got off on poisoning people.
That's psychotic.
Right?
Yikes.
So then, Dwight Moore, who's still married to her at this point, right?
Yeah.
Who she almost killed, he testifies against her.
Oh, he did. Good.
He's still trying to recover from the poisoning. He never fully regained control of his limbs. His hands shook as he's testifying.
No.
He was obviously still having difficulty with the realization that his wife, this woman he loved, was a serial killer who tried to kill him.
Fuck.
Right?
Oh, that looked like a designing woman.
Oh my God, yeah. And she's being herself. She's not emotional in the courtroom. She's very stoic, very emotionless,
Very put together.
Yep.
Yeah.
He does testify, though, that while she was dating Raymond and sneaking around with Dwight on the side, she asked Dwight to buy her some arsenic-based ant killer.
Oh, shit.
So he's like, I did buy her some of that stuff. She asked me to buy it for her.
Yeah, shit.
Blanche also attempted to get him to make her the sole beneficiary of his pension and cut out his own adult children.
Oh, wow. Was she?
And again, he didn't have a lot. No, he didn't have a lot of money either.
No, but she's just going to get what she can get. Don't throw a fit.
She's got to pay for that pudding, man.
Yeah, she just makes a lot of it. Wow.
Right? She should have been selling it. Oh no, that would have been bad. Then she would have been a mass murderer.
Mass.
Oh Lord. Okay, never mind.
She would have loved that.
The prosecution's theory on Blanche's motive was not money. They're like, this isn't money. They just proposed to the jury that she was just not what she appeared to be. She was just evil. Yeah. She just got off on poisoning people.
That's freaking insane.
Prosecution rests, right? Now it's the defense's turn. And she did the ultimate no-no. She testified in her own defense.
Because she looks so innocent and she's done so well.
That's what she thought was, everyone. I am this
perfect Southern.
Exactly. This
elderly woman.
I am a pastor's wife. I am a good Christian.
They will believe me.
Right. But again, she shows nothing. There's no emotion, right? She says, I believe that arsenic was found in all of these people, but I wasn't responsible for it.
It was that other guy that died.
Exactly.
Garvin.
Which
sounds
Gavin,
like
misspelled Gavin.
I know. Right? I thought it sounded like a radio.
There's like a Garvin furniture, I think.
Is there? See, I was thinking or Garmin is what I'm thinking, like some sort of device. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Garvin.
Anyway, so she's like, I'm not responsible for any of it. And she was being her very stoic self, but really it came off as arrogance.
Yes. Good.
It just came off as heartless. Her defense team tried to introduce Garvin Thomas as a possible suspect and create reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
They presented it. They said, they think it's her handwriting, but
her handwriting.
Right. But they're like, that's just a theory,
Oh, geez. That's pretty shitty.
The trial lasted for 5 weeks. Ooh. And on November 14th, 1990, the jury found her guilty of first-degree murder.
Wow, good.
And they recommended the death penalty.
Wow.
And her daughters were horrified.
I bet. Yeah.
They fully expected her to walk. They were like, nope, she didn't do this. The truth's going to come out.
Those poor girls.
I know. They were totally shocked.
I'm surprised they survived.
And then Dwight filed for the divorce. He was like, all right, that's it. I got to admit it. She's a serial killer.
Yeah, I'm out. Shit.
On January 18th, 1991, at sentencing, the judge sentenced Blanche to die by lethal injection.
Wow.
She has appealed her conviction 3 times, and she's been denied every single time. She's all out of appeals at this point. She's still alive. She is still on death row. She's 90.
Oh, shit. Well,
she's 90 years old.
Yeah.
She's the oldest female on death row.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. Well, she's going to go one way or another here.
Yeah, right? She's still kicking it. I don't know. I read somewhere that her breast cancer returned in jail, and she's had chemotherapy and radiation, and she's still kicking it. I don't know, man.
Dang.
She took all these men down in their 50s with some poison, but she just
can fight
the
it.
Energizer bunny. She just...
It's kind of like, how dare they get treated for free where the rest of us outside of there have to pay these exorbitant...
Yeah, right? I'm sure she doesn't have to pay for any of that.
Just a thought, huh?
Oh, yeah, interesting. She still maintains her innocence.
Yeah, I'm sure she does.
And then her daughter, well, I don't know about both daughters. I just know Cindy has come to accept her mother's guilt because she appeared in both TV episodes that I watched about her.
Oh, okay.
And she has come to terms with, she's like, yeah. Her mother still won't admit it. And I don't know where Vanessa stands because she didn't answer any interviews.
Want to be a part of it.
But Cindy in one episode believes that her mother's testimony in court just sealed her fate. She's like,
it does every time.
Yeah. She's just, not only, was there the evidence that they presented, but she made herself very unlikable.
Yeah,
So, in 1993, a book was published about the murders called Preacher's Girl by Jim Schultz or Schultze or something.
That sounds very kind to what she was.
Right, Preacher's Girl. And then they turned the book into a made-for-TV movie. I don't know how I missed this one.
Yes.
It was called Black Widow Murders, the Blanche Taylor Moore story, and it starred Elizabeth Montgomery from Bewitched.
Oh, wow.
I know. I totally would have watched that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dwight Moore, by the way, he remarried and he moved to Virginia, and he died of natural causes.
Oh, good. Okay.
In 2013.
Wow.
So he escaped. He dodged a bullet there. That is the story of Blanche Taylor Moore, Black Widow, serial killer, maker of banana pudding. Banana pudding. I don't know how I didn't know this woman's name.
No, and that she's got her own section of death in the cemetery.
I know.
Jesus.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane. Where did you hear all these?
Okay, so I can't remember how I found her.
Yeah.
But I watched Snapped Southern Edition. Apparently they have a Southern Edition.
Oh my God, we're missing all of these.
What? Snapped Southern Edition, season 27, episode 11, Blanche Taylor Moore.
Oh, good.
Then I watched Evil Lives Here, season 3, episode 4, The Black Widow.
It certainly lives there. Yes.
There was an article from LATimes.com, WashingtonTimes.com, theCinemaholic.com, and then I got some information from Wikipedia, both on her, and I had to look up arsenic. Oh yeah, wow. I had to look up all this shit. So
that's a lot of death surrounding one lady, and nobody caught on.
I know.
Like,
how good
she's
was
just
this
unlucky.
pudding? Yeah, I mean, shit,
it's so good.
I just kept thinking, like, you know, I thought it was weird that the hospital was cool with her bringing food in when all these people were having intestinal things. Maybe they're like,
seriously,
you know, we need to monitor what's going in his body.
Yeah. But she was so convincing or persuasive or...
Shit, I remember, you know, just like people I know being in the hospital and they're monitoring stuff and they're like, no salt diet and all that.
Absolutely.
No. They're just like, bring on the fat.
Whatever you want. All the sugar.
You can't keep food down, but bring them a milkshake.
Bring it. Oh,
what the hell?
God. Wow. That's shocking.
She was poisoning him in the flipping hospital.
The hospital. And then
giving it to the nurses to poison him.
That is shocking.
And then she poisoned the fucking nurses.
Yeah, and that they didn't catch on after that is shocking to me. Like, hey, we're all getting sick from this woman's food.
I'm surprised she didn't, like, bring some pudding to the detectives and was like, hey...
Totally.
Thanks for looking out for my husband.
Oh, everybody's sick.
I hope you find the killer.
Now.
Have some pudding.
Oh, God, she could have. This is probably on her list of things to do.
I know.
That was a good story.
Yeah,
Thank
I liked
you.
That one.
That's a good one. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. I don't think I'll ever look at banana pudding again.
Not the same
I'll
way.
Ever be able to eat it.
No, you'll have to make it yourself to make sure it's okay. Now I feel like making some pudding. All right.
All right, we got to go make pudding, people.
Yep. Non-poisonous.
Yes.
Non-poisonous.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Hey, Oddies. Thanks for listening to another episode of ODFM. If you're a longtime listener, hey, we cannot thank you enough for your continued support. And if you're a new listener, thanks for giving us a try. If you like us, please drop us a like, subscribe, or rate us so we can share our stories with more people around the world. And if you'd like more information, like links to our podcast and socials, along with our Patreon fan page, those links are all on Linktree under ODFM Podcast. That's linktr.ee/ODFM Podcast. Side note, you guys, we're obsessed with fan art, and we love making things with it, like stickers for our fans. So if you'd like us to use your designs, send it to us at odfmpodcast@gmail.com. And if we use your design, we'll be sure to send you a sticker.
Thanks for listening to another episode of ODFM, hosted by Kelly DeVries and Jenna Swanson. Production and editing by Kelly DeVries. Theme music by Eric Swanson. ODFM is a satirical true crime podcast for entertainment purposes only. The stories you hear are serious and true. The comments and opinions are not. We apologize if any of our content is harmful or disrespectful.